So this last week, I discovered that you can't really re-upload a video conveniently on YouTube. So I thought that I would create just one video for corrections, copying some late night comedians. Yeah, I know, a little embarrassing. But essentially, I thought I'd put them all in one video throughout the entirety of my YouTube channel as of this time. That's about a year. And I'll essentially mention each one and why they're wrong, and most of them were due to addition mix-ups. Like, if I were to divide this into a pie chart, the largest section would be I mixed up 3.5 and Pathfinder 2e because I ran both within a week of each other. Alright, so the first one is for my most recent video, How Do I Play a Healer? I have the thumbnail up there so you can see which one it is. If you're on computer, you can likely see this. I know on mobile you can't really. So the first correction here is from Mathematics. Essentially, I forgot that slow does not have the incapacitation trait. I was actually thinking of paralyzed, but those spells are similar in some ways, and I don't really know what made it slip my mind. The other one I got was from Epsilon is greater than. He mentioned that I forgot the Cherugian Alchemist. Essentially, this is an alchemist focused on healing items. I believe the reason I forgot it was probably that I just wouldn't recommend it to a new player, because it's a very complicated class to begin with as the alchemist, but then you also do everything, so it's a very generalist class. It would fit, but if you're a new player, still stay away from it. Alright, on to the fighter level 1. From Epsilon is greater than, shield block is triggered by taking damage while a shield is raised. It does not raise your shield. I'm not really sure what made this misconnection, but essentially I stated it in a way that seemed to say that shield block raises your shield. It doesn't. The War Priest at level 3. Rex Felix, and I'm not going to try and say the Roman numeral number. He said, it is almost never a good idea to use a general feat slot for a skill feat slot due to the limited number. This is not a precise quote. And essentially, that was just something that I didn't add to the video, but it's a comment that I wanted to highlight because it extends the video. The War Priest at level 2. At Keldias 9718, War Priest armor gives heavy armor proficiency at level 2. It literally says it in the first sentence. I was originally going to issue a correction to the video. It's actually the one that made me realize this. It's the first sentence of the feat. Apparently, I skimmed a little too much. Then from Dash Panther 9943, War Priests automatically get Deadly Simplicity at level 1 for their deity's weapon. So it's a little more complicated, but I think I'll stand by saying it's for the deity's weapon. I don't think it's for all weapons. This is because it's only granted if your deity has an unarmed or simple weapon as their favored weapon. So essentially, it's for that weapon and it's not for other things. Now for the War Priest at level 1. Multiple people corrected me on this. Basically, everyone can use a shield in Pathfinder. It doesn't matter your class. The shield block feat is what's unique to certain classes, which makes raise the shield better. This is the one that I made an addition mix-up because I created the video a few weeks around when I last ran Dungeons & Dragons 3.5, and it's a little different there because shields are actually a proficiency. But in Pathfinder, everyone can use a shield. In fact, a lot of people recommend that everyone has at least a buckler because you can use that for a little bit of extra hit points. Well, a little bit of extra armor. Yes, slipping up in corrections. Fun. Yeah. So essentially, it gives you a little bit of extra armor, and bucklers leave, I think they leave a free hand. You can check me on that. Corrections with corrections, that would be funny. So then, for the tank classes is probably the one I had the biggest mix-up, and it's for Mountain Stance. Essentially, Mountain Stance is not required for high AC, as SJS244 said, and Player Kit also said that you can move well in Mountain Stance. I checked it, and yes, you can. You just have minus 5 feet of movement and can still move. And then DJ Game King added on that mountain stance only ends if the character stops touching the ground. I think that's probably where the mix-up came in, because I made this after I had a mountain stance monk in my game, and I had some enemies throwing people around. So that would explain why mountain stance repeatedly ended. Then for the video Pathfinder 2e character building tips for new players, 20 Cats RPG said that a level 8 character will only have +4 on their main attribute, and they will have +5 at level 10. Essentially, I think this was just a misread again, because again, 3.5. It works the other way there. At this point, I am realizing that I should have these details just down before I say something. And then this last one is the one I got from at least 4 different people. And honestly, I find it kind of silly. One person accused me of being AI, which I honestly find hilarious, because an AI wouldn't have done what I did, but I mispronounced the word scythe. I said scythe. Essentially, it's a oops I repeatedly make. This is not the first time. And yeah, it's just a funny one. So yes, I mispronounced it. Don't quote me ever as a pronunciation source, because there is if it's anything connected to French, I would say that there's a good 50 to 60% chance I'm wrong. It's just a quirk I have. All right, so that's all for corrections. If you have additional questions to get clarification on or anything like that, please mention them in the comments below. Comments on, yeah, this is funny. And I'll probably do this next year as well. Thank you for watching.